What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So look, y'all, I was watching The Breakfast Club and I was watching the interview with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence because guess what's coming out on Friday? Bad Boys, Bad Boys. What you gonna do? I gotta go check out Bad Boys 3, man. I'm super excited because I'm a fan of the franchise. Like my family and them used to watch it all the time. My aunties and uncles, how we all be dying laughing watching the movie, like just entertained through and through. And I think this one is definitely going to be dope because the way Will Smith was talking about it and how he only wanted to do the franchise if they was going to do it right and if they wasn't just going to just rush something just to sell some movies, just to make money. He like, nah, it got to be done right because as I feel, the Men in Black franchise got worse and worse as it went on. The first one was great. Second one's alright. The third one just it was horrible to me. I did not fool with it at all. But I really want to talk about the interview itself, man. I felt like the interview, it was a great interview. And I just love I love watching these big stars go on these black platforms. And so we can get the questions answered that a lot of the black audience want to know. A lot of the black audience, things that we want to know about. And I feel like Martin and them, Martin and Will, especially Will, because I feel like Martin is more like Will is such a big megastar that people are used to seeing Will outside of the black media circuit. He's outside of the black media circuit because he's in the real big national media circuit. But to see Will back in that environment, like that was dope. Same with Martin. Martin, I believe people were saying I'm not sure. I should have looked this up before I made this video. They were saying that he had a stroke or something like that. And so, he was going through some health issues or whatever. But Martin, from what I noticed in the interview, Martin is a lot more reserved than Will. You know what I mean? He seems a lot more shy. And it's crazy because you like, how can a person so colorful on TV be so shy? But it happens like that in real life. A lot of entertainers can be real shy and be real reserved. But again, I love the heat because they was on Sway in the Morning with Heather B and Sway. They was on Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and Angela Yee and DJ Envy and all of that. And it's just great to see them in an environment because I wanted them to talk about all the stuff like the hip hop elements that was brought into the Martin TV show, right? And talk about the influence of certain characters on Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, James Avery, and all of that. Like, those shows were iconic from my childhood. I tell people all the time, there were two black men that I wanted to be like when I was watching TV as a kid. I wanted to be Lee Thompson Young. Shout out, rest in peace to Lee Thompson Young, aka the famous Jet Jackson. I wanted to be him. He's also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, may I add. I had to throw that in there. But anyway, he was just one of the cool, he was the cool dude with the waves, cool, smooth black dude on TV. I wanted to be like him. And I also wanted to be like Will Smith because I thought Will was the coolest, flyest dude on TV. He had the charm. He had the style. He was street smart, but he was very, very book smart as well. He was funny. He was just down to earth. He was the walking poster for cool. Will Smith was. That's what I wanted to be like Will and Lee Thompson Young, aka the famous Jet Jackson. So when I was watching these shows, like I was really just enamored. I was just captured by these shows. Even the Martin show as well. I didn't name Martin, but Martin was just, man, he was flat in the mug. He was funny as hell. And the shows just, I don't know, man, like those shows resonated with the black community for sure. Now people might say Martin more resonated with the hood than the Fresh Prince, but I feel like both shows served their purpose so well. Like that show, they both were written so well and they served this purpose so well. Now I'm gonna go back to the interview. I feel like Angela Yee did a great job by incorporating Martin into more questions, just to get him talking more and to get him more comfortable. At times, Will, who can be a more dominant person in the interview setting, I'm like, okay, cool. And I was into everything Will was saying, but I wanted to hear more from Martin. And I feel like Yee was pulling Martin more into the conversation. which was dope. And I feel like that is great interviewing skills, for real. And Charlamagne asking him about, this is what I feel like is dope about Will. He was asking Will about, did he ever feel jealous about the relationship that his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, had with Tupac Shakur. Now, from what we all know, there was never no romantic relationship, never nothing sexual or nothing like that. But they were very, very close, and they had a deep love for each other. And they really, really loved each other a whole lot, you know, through growing up in school with each other in Baltimore, in the acting or performing arts schools. Tupac wrote her a poem, and I wrote her poems and all type of stuff. He really, really loved Jada, and they had really, really close, really, really deep friendship. And for Will to admit that he was jealous as hell, he was definitely jealous. That was some man stuff right there. Now some people be like, oh, he only said it because Pac gone now, so it's easier to say it now. Regardless, we talking about the Fresh Prince. This is Will Smith, right? This is like the mega star. All the women love Will. Will is just like the dopest dude even in the black community. We love Will. Like people perceive him as the ultimate. Like he's the cool, he the man's man and all of that. And he like, look, fam, I was jealous. Like I didn't even know how to have that conversation with him. I didn't even know how to even just go about meeting him because I know the way my lady or my wife, I don't know if they was married at the time, but they might have been married. Was they dating? I don't know if they was married at the time when Pac was, before Pac passed. I'm not sure. I got to find that out too. But he like, look, my woman was really like, they was super close, and they were even though nothing was physical when they were kids, but now they at the age where something physical can happen. So he said he didn't even know how to he wasn't even man enough to even have that conversation with him because he like, look, I already know. I ain't even want to even have that interaction with him at that time because I felt that, hey, my lady was into him and it was kind of, I wasn't ready for that. So for him to admit that he was insecure about that, or he was not insecure, he was jealous of that relationship. He was jealous about it. That was big of him, man. And that's a question. Big up Charlamagne. That's a question that a lot of people wanted to know about, and Charlamagne was never afraid to ask that question. He never was afraid to ask that. He's not afraid to ask those type of questions, which makes for great interviews. Now back to this. Charlamagne asked the question during the Breakfast Club, who had the better TV show? And of course they're going to say, you know what, both of them were great. They were going to give that answer, of course. And I wouldn't expect them to give another answer outside of that. I wouldn't want them to slight each other's shows or nothing like that unless they're doing it in a joking way. But afterwards, the Breakfast Club had a poll on whose show was better. And people were like, you know what, Martin's show was better because, we felt that show more. It was more realistic. It was more relatable than the Fresh Prince. We don't have rich uncles and aunties that live out, that are black Republicans that live out in affluence in California. We came from the hood like Martin did. But let me just say this. Before people get caught up in that, both shows served this purpose. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was monumental because, for one, we had some of the greatest episodes in TV history that episode with Will and his father being gone, and the episode with him talking to Uncle Phil, like, why he don't want me no more? Why he don't want me? Like, fam, I don't care what nobody say. I watch that show right now. That episode right now. My father been in my life all my life. I promise you, I don't give a damn. That'll make me want to tear up and cry. For real. The episode where Carlton was trying to join the fraternity, and they was telling him that he wasn't black enough, and they talk about blackness and how, the hood try to perceive blackness as being having a certain type of swagger about yourself, and if you don't have that swagger, you're not black, and how stupid it is amongst our own people. You know what I mean? And that was dope. Episodes about them, losing their virginity. Episodes about all them different type of important episodes, man. That was just dope. Even when Will was was friends with Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah had a crush on him, and I think Will was digging her and her personality, but he was afraid to be around her because she was a heavier girl and all that type of stuff. Like that stuff, that was great television, and it was important to see, a black family being together and still function. Like they was. I like the image of, I don't always like to see black people living poor on TV, and that's why I appreciate the Cosby Show too. I like to see black people living to show black kids that you can live prominently. You can live good. Everybody ain't in the hood. Everybody ain't living in the projects all the time. We can a lot of us are, but we can overcome that. We can rise above that, because in the episode in The Fresh Prince, they showed a flashback when Philip Banks and Vivian Banks was living in the hood, and he was trying to make his way into, being a lawyer, or being a judge and everything like that. He was trying to make his way up the food chain. And look where they came and look where they ended up. And that was beautiful to watch. That they could bring their nephew from out in Philly, in the hood of Philly, and show him to a different environment and show him how to adapt within that. That was dope to see. Beautiful to watch. And then see the black family just living good and thriving. Everybody ain't gonna be like Good Times. And I'm gonna have a whole nother video about Good Times, because I've been watching Good Times on Amazon Prime. And I'm just like, Florida Evans, I do not like her character no more at all. Now that I'm a grown man and I'm analyzing a lot of stuff that she did and said on the show, I do not fool. And this is not, excuse me, and rest in peace to the great Esther Rolle. This is nothing indicative. I'm not trying to be disparaging to her at all, because I know she didn't write the script for her character, and I know she did a great job acting wise for sure. But it was just certain things that her character said and did. I was like, oh my God, I ain't fooling with Florida. No, man. But anyway, back to what I was saying. But that show was written great. Now let's go to Martin. Martin served his purpose because we saw, for one, we saw a guy who had a dream and ambition, right? I'm a mass communication major. I went to college for mass communication. I had my own radio show in school, and I did a TV show when I talked about sports. Talked about the campus sports, football, basketball, volleyball. So I talked about everything on my shows. And I feel like when I had my own show, I feel like Martin at what's up? WZUP radio station. It showed me that, hey, and Martin became prominent to where he ended up getting, not only having a radio show, he ended up having his own TV show from his charisma, how charismatic he was, how dedicated he was to his job, and how seriously he took it. How seriously he took his craft. That showed me, hey, I can find my own lane in the media world and do something great and be good at it and thrive. That showed me that, right? But then not only that, the love between a black man and a woman. On that, a black man and a black woman. On that show, Martin was with Gina. Everybody know that was his woman, who eventually was his wife. But in that show, we never seen Martin we never saw Martin having moments of infidelity. He never was cheating on Gina and all of that. He always showed love to Gina. Now, of course, he had times when he was being mean to Gina and all of that, but deep down, you saw that they really loved each other on TV. Like, that was like important to see, and not painting black men in the light where we all just cheating on our women and we all just bad spouses, we beating them and all of that, and we talking down to them and talking to them like they ain't nothing. Martin had his moments where they showed some, chauvinistic stuff, but he really loved Gina. He adored Gina, and he ended up marrying Gina because he loved that woman deep through and through, and he would do anything for Gina, which I felt like was dope. And the bond between him and his boys and his friends, his boy Tommy, his boys Cole, they would come over and just kick it all the time, no matter what condition it was in. The crib could have been cold, the minute window was missing, they in there shaking and freezing, kicking it with Martin. Through and through. Whatever Martin had something going on, they was riding with Martin all the time. Another thing, Martin always represented the historically black colleges and universities on his show. Always wearing them with the Morris Brown hoodies, the Morehouse hoodies, what he had on, Clark Atlanta gear, had on North Carolina A&T gear, always rep a Howard sweatshirt or sweater, Grambling sweaters. Like all Jackson State, he was repping all the HBCUs at all the times. And I am a proud alumni or alumnus, alumnus of Mississippi Valley State University, a historically black college in Itta Bena, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta. I went to an HBCU, proud graduate of it. And so I was proud to see Martin always promoting the black colleges on a show that majority black people watch, which is dope and beautiful to see. But also Martin was interviewing, he was putting hip-hop into putting hip-hop into the forefront. Martin was a show that did great with ratings. Not just black people watched it for sure because of how great the ratings was. Hey, we not a major part of the population, so we know other people was watching it too for that show to be thriving the way it was. But Martin was pushing, he had all these hip hop guests on it. Kid and Play, had Biggie Smalls on there. Had all different type of rap artists you could think of was on the Martin show. And I don't know, I feel like he was putting on for the culture at all times, for black culture at all times on that show, which was great. It was brilliant to see. And even the jokes, man, on the show, man. What? Had my man Hustle, man. Tracy Morgan was killing that role as Hustle, man, fam. What's happening, Chief? What's up, Chief? When my man's pulled out when he's trying to sell him that pizza, and he pulled out that little ass personal pan pizza for $15 and gave it to Tommy, I was on the floor dying laughing. And when he used to have them side conversations with Gina, when he tried to sell them some flowers when they were trying to stake out, I believe this was the episode when they was trying to find out what Tommy worked at. And they was him and Gina was on a stakeout, and they was in a car. And my man was trying to sell him some flowers. And Martin bought the flowers from him. And Gina was like, can I have the yellow ones or whatever? And she say, sure you can, Puddin'. And that man was in there, what's going on, Puddin' Pop Gumdrop and all. That man, excuse me, I got a hiccups for a second, but Tracy Morgan's character was so dope. The characters Martin played, Jerome, Roscoe, Dragonfly Jones, Mama Payne. He was Shanae Jenkins. For sure, everybody knows Shanae. Him playing Shanae, playing old Uncle Otis. Old Uncle Otis on the show. All them characters he played, man, like, come on, fam. You can never forget, like, Martin was just entertainment at his finest. And so was Will Smith, the Fresh Prince. Always entertaining, always just capturing the screen every time he came onto the screen. I feel like Will was so fly. Like when he turned that jacket inside out, and I believe they selling that on the internet right now, and your boy is about to copy the inside out blazer that Will was wearing when he was at the school, and they told him he had to wear a uniform, and he like, nah, I'm gonna flip this inside out and look better this way. I thought that was always cool that he did that. But yeah, man, that Breakfast Club interview was absolutely dope. I wish it could have been longer, for at least like an hour and something. I wish it could have been longer so I can just see more. I love seeing Will. Like, I know Martin gonna be, and I love seeing Martin interviews for sure. But I feel like Martin is more prone to do the black media circuit than Will. And to see Will back doing a black media circuit, that's dope. And I love to see that, man. I'm going to go see Bad Boys 3. I'm going to get my breakdown of the movie after I watch it. And y'all should watch it too. Machiavelli Mills TV. I didn't talk enough. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Share this video to everybody. Your mama, sister, cousin, auntie, uncles, and aunties, and your little cousins, your great nieces and nephews to follow this, to subscribe to this channel. And I'm gonna keep producing I'm gonna keep producing great content. I'm sorry. Machiavelli Mills TV. Peace.